Swerve Strickland, your AEW champion, to lead the charge in 2024. But I gotta ask, how do you build a new champion from scratch? A first-time championship holder taking the face of the company and leading on. And how does those matches look in his first reign as champion? We're going to answer that here on Tap Out Talk today in the following session. The house always wins. I'm your host, Bryan, the Hype, Ballard, and let's get in. So first we got to think about how to build the house, how to stack the deck just in time for Double or Nothing. But ultimately, we got to think about Swerve being a first-time champion and being able to be the face of the company and make this championship meaningful. Now, Kyle Fletcher was really an afterthought in what should have been his AEW Dynamite as champion for Strickland. He made his debut fresh off of beating Samoa Joe at Dynasty. And we got a matchup where, Kyle Fletcher got a lot of good offense on Strickland right away, which I don't think that should have been the way to introduce your champion. Also, within on Collision, we got what was a better interaction with Swerve, getting some opening promo time to open the show, followed by a championship defense against Claudio Castagnoli, who is a better opponent for a championship rub, if you will. So I do say that Collision, they did get some ability to show Swerve and his abilities as champion in a promo and a main event match of Collision on Saturday. But I'm going to talk about some of the things that we need to think about, what we need to do in building this first year. So when we build the house, we have to take championships in mind, but we also have to slowly build to where we get an epic outcome with some really amazing matches. But sometimes that means adding a little story in there and building the character of a champion. So here we have is our first pay-per-view coming up, and it's going to be Double or Nothing. And what I recommend is, it doesn't have to happen at Double or Nothing, but a triple threat match would be a great way to maybe go in Swerve Strickland's championship career. Samoa Joe, we don't know if he has a rematch clause in his contract after losing the championship, but I don't think a straight one-on-one rematch would be necessary in this feud. So we need a third dance partner that's believable to be in the main event. I present to you the reintroduced Adam Cole, baby. And I feel like Adam Cole would be able to be that third guy in the feud at Double or Nothing in a triple threat match against Swerve Strickland. And a very easy out here for Joe, still looking strong, and Cole still looking strong. We've seen some dissension in the kingdom with Adam Cole staring down the back of the head of Wardlow. And I feel that while it couldn't be a big piece of the storyline, Adam Cole could be cost his championship opportunity at Double or Nothing by Wardlow's mishaps, causing Adam Cole to get pinned accidentally even, allowing Swerve Strickland to have a great match with the three of them, but also go on to have a strong championship defense in his first month. Next, I would suggest maybe a renewed rivalry with Switchblade Jay White in 2024. The US of J Open in New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong 2022, these two did actually lock up. And at that point, we did see the promo of Whose House. White cut the promo afterwards, claiming that he proved that no one messes with him in his house. So that could be utilized, and since we have a relationship with New Japan Pro Wrestling AEW, some of that footage could be used to drive a very fun match between these two on a little bit of a bigger platform. But let's move ahead. We want to talk about maybe a next level, maybe an elite level, if you will. Well, over the summer, we could have even a little feud that goes with the Elite storyline, in which the VP Young Bucks and Jack Perry could be booked into a little bit of a numbers advantage matchup where they book themselves trying to claim the championship of AEW and running the show. And while Swerve Strickland maybe need a little help from some friends, there is some unfinished business with Keith Lee, in which he could come to Swerve Strickland's aid and Prince Nana maybe to even out the fold a little bit, or maybe even a returning Kenny Omega, etc., just to help further the story along. Ultimately, though, I would like to see Keith Lee eventually get maybe a championship opportunity in a mini feud with Swerve Strickland. So maybe Keith Lee could pull a swerve on Swerve and then ultimately get a quick championship opportunity at Battle of the Belts 11, which would then allow Strickland to get another opportunity to defend his title, also with a feud with somebody that knows him in the ring. Hey, I want to let you guys know, if you like wrestling, hit that like button. It helps your algorithm, helps you see more wrestling. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. If not, and welcome back. So ultimately, I want to let you know, at the Bryan Adkins on Twitter X, we hold Twitter spaces over there with the Wrestling Fans Insight podcast, part of the fans of Pro Wrestling.com. Also, you got other great podcasts over there like TED Takes and many, many more. Let's get more into the next rivalry renewed. Why not a rivalry renewed with a returning Hangman Adam Page? AEW Full Gear 2023, and who could forget the Texas death match that we just couldn't get out of our minds with scissors and all kinds of stuff and chains, oh my. But ultimately, let's go a little further. Let's go into this matchup, and then they actually have a rivalry built within, and Adam Hangman Page, being a former AEW World Champion himself, could be a viable option as a contender for Swerve's title, in which, again, Swerve would go over establishing his crown a little bit more. And finally, I'm going to give you another one here. How about Will Ospreay in a big AEW showdown to fill the stadium back again at All In 2024? I believe that these two would be magic in the ring, and I believe that these two could have an amazing showdown, and one that people would be talking for the ages while they're both in their prime. And that would be worthy of an AEW championship moment in a big stadium. So ultimately, those are going to be the main kind of matches we want to see to build Swerve Strickland up in his inaugural debut. But let's get into the final thoughts. There you have it. You have the overall thoughts on how to build the house and how to build whose house it really is. Now, while we could have other great feuds in there later in the year, we could have a Kenny Omega feud, which I would welcome. We could have an MJF feud. But at the end of the day, we got to get both those guys back and in the ring. But how did we do? Let us know in the comments down below. And if you have a championship opportunity or matchup that you would like to see with the newly crowned AEW Swerve Dynasty, leave it in the comments down below and I'll shout you out over on Twitter for it. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and get out. And remember, whose house is it? It's Swerve's house. Like, share, subscribe. It's not game over. It's game over.